10 hidden signs of a problematic man. How to recognize toxic relationships before they become unbearable for you. In this video, we will talk about toxic relationships, how a toxic man manifests, and how to recognize him early on to prevent things from dragging on and becoming unbearably painful. And the first sign is outbursts of anger and emotional manipulation. If a man can be calm, but then his emotions suddenly change and there are outbursts of aggression and rage, this may indicate a toxic man. With such a man, a woman often feels scared, insecure, and unwell. These outbursts will affect you. If they initially affect other people around, you will eventually experience these outbursts of rage yourself. You will feel scared, uncomfortable, and insecure with this man. You will always be expecting, let's say, some kind of trick. And such a man may resort to emotional manipulation, for example, making you feel guilty. For instance, you may not want to do something, you simply don't want to, you disagree with something. He says, "Look at you, how shameless you are, I've done so much for you, I've done this and that and so on, you don't appreciate anything, and now you're treating me this way." So what happens at that moment? The man evokes a sense of guilt in the woman for what he has done for her, while she is supposedly, for example, ungrateful. And thus, she can be controlled. And this is the first sign of a toxic person moving on. Negative statements, negative attitude towards past relationships. If you hear a man saying that his ex was such a scoundrel, so bad, expressing so many negative things about her, often women may flatter these stories. "She was so bad, but look at me. I'm so good. Don't be deceived. Over time, you will become just as bad." If a person speaks about others in a negative light, it says more about the person who is saying it than about those they are talking about. So, if you hear negativity from a person, listen. Perhaps this person is telling you about themselves. Focus on his words and try to apply all these statements to yourself. Are you ready to hear such things about yourself in the future? Therefore, you need to listen, so to speak, deeply, not to indulge your ego and self-esteem at some point, but to listen and understand that you might find yourself in this situation later on. Unwillingness to work on relationships. I am who I am. Accept me as I am. This means you need to do certain work on the relationship. Sometimes yielding, sometimes keeping quiet about certain moments. And he, with this phrase, is telling you that he will do nothing for the relationship. Relationships are about mutual growth, some concessions and conversations. It is the ability to seek compromise. A relationship is the interaction of two people, where two people, while developing, make each other better. They improve, become better, do something nice for each other, and then grow. But in relationships where a man is in a position of, "I will do nothing," well, dear, if something doesn't suit you, then do something yourself. This means that all the relationships will depend on you. As long as you are okay with this, you will remain in these relationships. As soon as something stops being acceptable to you, well then, goodbye. Moving on. Problem with dependencies. Pay attention to the man right away. If a man drinks, and you realize that perhaps his drinking norm needs to be controlled, if a man uses any illegal substances, if he is a gambler, it is better not to enter into these relationships at all. Otherwise, by trying to save the person next to you who doesn't really need this salvation, you will drown yourself, you will waste yourself, you will lose your life, and you will completely lose touch with yourself. That is, it's like a swamp that sucks you in, from which it is very difficult to escape later. Therefore, if you notice that a man has some strong weakness when there is a strong imbalance, think about whether you need that. Do you need to get into this swamp right away? Furthermore, the absence of goals and ambition, unwillingness to discuss the future. There are men who have not grown up. That is, for example, he is satisfied with everything. He does not wish to move forward. He is ready to stop where he is and not go anywhere further. If you understand that you want more, you want to move forward, something is important to you, you have some goals, and he has nothing, then your relationship will eventually fall apart sooner or later. Life itself will destroy them. When you move forward and he stays in place, firstly, this situation will greatly hold you back. And then, when you get tired of it all, your relationship will naturally fall apart. And also, the unwillingness to discuss the future may indicate that the man does not see you as a partner for the future. He may take advantage of the benefits that you are currently providing him. He may simply feel comfortable, but when conversations about the future come up, he doesn't need it because, for example, he does not see a future relationship with you, and that is why he will not discuss any future with you. Inability to show compassion. You should understand me. And this phrase, which is often directed at a woman, often clouds her judgment. She is supposed to understand the man. And in that moment she thinks, well, yes, I should understand the man. I should put myself in his shoes. But again, a relationship is the interaction of two people. But who will understand a woman? Who will understand me? After all, if a woman keeps making constant concessions, she is supposed to understand him. But how will she feel? So, when a man thinks only about himself, about his state in the relationship, how good it will be for him, it seems like it doesn't matter. That is, if he is tired at work, he has no strength, someone has thrown him off balance, a difficult situation has occurred, he shares it with you, and you should understand him, you should live alongside him, his emotions, support him. But when something happens to you, those are your problems. So again, this is not about relationships, it's not about happy relationships, not about healthy relationships, it's about a relationship with a toxic person. Moving on. A negative view of the world. All women are so bad, they are somehow mercenary, somehow evil, and so on. That is, each man can form some kind of image. So there are 2 points here. Again, when a man lives from such a state of negativity, even in something good, doing something good for him, he still won't see it. Even in something good, he will find negativity. And in this toxic way of living life, this toxicity actually clings. When there is a toxic person nearby who is constantly dissatisfied with life, at some point a woman may also start to feel that life is actually unhappy, bad, everything around is bad, and so on. This is the first point. The second point, this is a form of manipulation. When a man, for example, says, I have met all women and all women were bad, they were mercenary, evil, and so on. And now the woman is afraid to express her needs, for example, if she needs something. But she is now afraid of being seen as bad in some way to him. So if a man voices this phrase, again, think about it. He will hold on to this phrase forever. Next, control and manipulation. I know what is better for you. And immediately, some women may be flattered by such behavior from a man. That is, he is strong, he is, let's say, a conqueror, he does what he says, meaning the woman is behind the man. And some are indeed flattered by this at the beginning. But then the woman realizes that she has ended up in a cage because she cannot meet with friends, because she needs to ask for permission. She cannot be late from work because, well, what if she gets delayed? She needs to call and warn. And if she doesn't warn, there may be some sanctions for behaving in a way that is not allowed for her. That is, she enters into a relationship with a kind of parent figure from whom she starts to ask for permission, inquire and request, and she will feel unfree in this relationship. So there can be no talk of a partnership here. Next, unwillingness to compromise. Everything must be my way. As I said, so it will be. And again, there is a violation of the balance in the relationship. That is, the woman understands that all her needs, her desires, her words are all unimportant. What matters is that, as he said, it should be. If at the very beginning of the relationship the woman turns a blind eye to the phrase when the man tells her, I will decide all the important issues, I will decide this and that. Again, wearing rose-colored glasses, the woman imagines everything in such a rosy light. She thinks that he will take on all the problems and her life will be just paradise. But in reality, when she finds herself in such a relationship, she feels like a child. Because her opinion is not taken into account, she can be punished, she can also be petted. So, she does not feel in the relationship as she would like. Therefore, pay attention if you hear this phrase. Unwillingness to take responsibility. When a man says, it's your fault, it's all because of you. If you had acted differently, everything would have been fine. You are to blame for this and that situation. Shifting responsibility and the inability to take responsibility indicate the man's immaturity. It shows that the man is not yet fully formed. That is, let's say, like a child. He may have grown up, but he does not know how to take responsibility. He does not know how to talk about important things. If something goes wrong for him, he will blame you for everything. And again, of course, it is difficult to be in such relationships. Difficult to build a relationship with such a person. That's all I have for this video. I was with you, Alisa. I hope for your likes and subscriptions. Write in the comments what you would like to discuss in my new videos. Don't forget to hit the bell, and goodbye, everyone.